Did you know the root word from which the word science is derived is the Latin scientia? That word means truth. The search for truth wherever it leads was the scientific motto for centuries. But at some point in history, science stopped being a search for truth and became a weapon for a worldview. That moment is when atheism hijacked science. Let's clear up a few things. It was mainly Christians who developed the scientific protocol. The fathers of physics, chemistry, genetics, astronomy, and microbiology, Newton, Kepler, Boyle, Mendel, and Pasteur, were all devout believers. For them, studying the universe wasn't a rebellion against God, it was an act of worship. They believed the world was orderly because it was designed, and therefore discoverable. So what happened? How did science go from thinking God's thoughts after him to insisting that God can't even be considered? Let's walk through it. For most of history, science operated under a simple principle called methodological naturalism, the idea that scientists should look for natural explanations when doing experiments. This was never a claim that the supernatural didn't exist. It was simply a rule of procedure. But over time, something subtle and dangerous happened. The rule shifted from we study natural causes to nature is all there is. That second line isn't science, it's philosophy, specifically atheistic materialism. The shift didn't happen in labs, it happened in lecture halls, philosophy departments, and cultural power structures. And once it took root, it quietly rewrote the definition of science itself. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, a handful of influential thinkers, none of them experimental scientists, pushed the idea that anything beyond matter should be rejected before the evidence is even examined. Thomas Huxley, known as Darwin's bulldog, openly argued that science should be used to remove God from the conversation. The logical positivists followed, claiming that any statement not measurable in the laboratory was meaningless, even statements about morality, consciousness, logic, or the existence of minds. Suddenly, science wasn't a search for truth, it became a filter where only atheistic answers were allowed through. It wasn't a discovery, it was a hostile takeover. Today, many scientists still do honest, world-changing work, but the institutional structure of science often demands a predetermined conclusion. Life must be accidental. Morality must be chemical. The universe must be self-caused. Design must be rejected automatically, no matter how strong the evidence. This isn't neutrality. This is a worldview pretending to be science. Because when you forbid certain conclusions before you begin, you're not doing science anymore. You're doing ideology. When you remove the worldview restriction, something fascinating happens. The universe begins with a sudden creation event, just like ancient theists believed. The laws of physics appear fine-tuned with unbelievable precision. DNA looks engineered, not accidental. Consciousness defies material explanation. Morality stubbornly refuses to reduce to chemicals. None of these points to atheism, but all of it is perfectly consistent with the worldview that launched science in the first place. The universe is rational because its creator is a rational God. So when exactly did atheism hijack science? It wasn't one moment, it was a shift in definition. From science seeks truth to science only accepts a materialist worldview. That was the pivot. And it's why so many discussions today feel rigged from the start. Because when the rules are rewritten to force one conclusion, evidence no longer matters. Science isn't the enemy of faith. Science was built by faith, by people who believed the universe made sense because its creator was not a god of chaos, but a god of order. The real conflict today isn't science versus God, it's atheism versus truth. Truth wasn't meant to be filtered, it was meant to be found. And it's time to take science back to what it was always meant to be, a pursuit of truth, wherever it leads. What do you think? Has science lost its way? Leave your thoughts in the comments.